for a dream to die. Rely on yourself in no way. Believe.
Morning, everybody. Hey, hope you all doing good. Today's going to be a full day for me and a very eventful one if you've been keeping up with anything I do away from this platform. If if you're privy to Savage Patriots, today should be when I say eventful, it'll be eventful. No doubt, probably this morning will be eventful too because they're confusing this page with the Savage Patriots page and thinking something's happening here when it should be happening over there. But needless to say, if you see anybody pop up in the comment section that have nothing to do with the topic, it's expected. And mods, you have the okay right off the top. Listen to me carefully. Any mods that are in here right now, you have the okay for today alone. I give you free reign if anyone comes in the comment section and they're not talking about the topic, nuke them. Just phew, out of here. Bam. Gone. Brakes are off. Just gone. Okay. So if your mods come in here lately or late, I will take care of it prior to. I'll announce it again later on. But any mods that are listening that I haven't seen yet, if anyone comes in here sideways, different topic, nuke them. Okay. Just want everybody to be sure that that is the plan right now. Okay. Duke Nukem. Duke Nukem. Yeah, I don't see any mods either, which is okay. I got mods power too. I can take care of it myself. It's all good. Anyhow, I had contemplated whether or not I would cover this particular thing because it's not necessarily um, it's not a church related, God related necessarily thing. And the more I thought about it, the more I decided I probably should because the aspect that I have on it is not, um, I think, the way they want you to look at it. But I do want to look into the history of it and also look into something that it's closely related to. Okay. So for those of you who don't know what the red dress run is, um, it is a very, it's a very interesting thing. And I'll bring up the page that they have created for this. Okay, so you can see that what I'm seeing. This is the red dress run, a run worth drinking for, the charity event with a running problem. Okay, now as you can see, it's men in dresses, women in, and it's all red. Now I want to focus a lot on this idea of the red for a minute when we get into it, so keep that in mind. Every year on the second Saturday in August, a New Orleans Hash House Harriers, a local drinking club with a running problem, host Red Dress Run, a charity run in the Crescent City. The run usually begins in the French Quarter or Marine neighborhoods in New Orleans. Although the exact location is only announced to those who registered, the runners with drinks in hand continue their route through the French Quarter and spend the rest of the day celebrating. Each expect a sea of red throughout the neighborhood, even if running isn't your thing. Head down in the red to get in on the fun. Participants in the red dress run can sign up here. Your registration fee includes the registration gifts. First 3,000 registrants and an entry into Armstrong Park, where they tap a keg at 9 o'clock and serve until 4. All you can eat food prepared by local restaurants, live music, and a donation on your behalf to local New Orleans charities. Early bird pricing is available. You must be 21 or older to participate. If you would like to join us, click here. This is the history. The Red Dress Run is a global hashing tradition where participants wear red themed attire for a fun run, originating in 1987 with the San Diego Hash House Harriers. It has become a worldwide phenomenon. Keep that in mind. The New Orleans Red Dress Run, organized by NOH3, is one of the largest annual events since 1987, drawing participants globally. Held in August. It features a marked trail through vibrant New Orleans streets with stops of refreshments and socializing. Um, Now, this is nothing more than a um, debaucherous gathering. It really is all it really is about. Um, they never really tell you what the charity is for, just that you come, drink, and run, and it's to bring people together. Now, I wouldn't advise go looking up Red Dress Run anywhere else but on Safe Search on, you know, the internet, because the unfortunate thing is that the other portions of this event is also on the internet for you to see. Just let you know, don't do that. Okay, make sure you equip Safe Search and then go looking. I had to find out the hard way not to search normally for Red Dress Run. don't don't do it. Don't do it. Just giving you the advice that I know you will need. Make sure Safe Search is on, then go looking if you need to find anything else. Okay, just trust me on this one. Okay, let's see what their nonprofits are. Now, mind you, watch this. Okay, we give away over $125,000 in 2024. To see the list of grant recipients for prior years, click here. This is what they got for this year. Watch carefully. Um, Ben F. Elementary. Now, this is for children's schools. Okay, please be aware. Boys and girls. You see an issue so far? Geeks, GGs. Greater NOLA Youth Orchestra. Do you see any problems so far? At all? That they have a certain Special Olympics? Okay. Women helping women. Youth empowerment. Youth rebuilding NOLA. Do you see where the emphasis is going with their influence? I hope we catch on to that real quick, because the influence that they're trying to establish is right along the idea of kids. They want to hide that, but they can't. Now, when you get this idea that the participants have to be 21 or older because they're running, that doesn't mean that the observers have to be 21 or older. Just remember that. The observers on the streets are not 21 and over. Now, what would they be seeing? They'd be seeing stuff like this. Okay, that is empowerment to women, by the way. Just so you know, that's empowerment to women. Please keep in mind what you're going to see is women empowerment. Women empowerment right here. This is solidarity with women, is what they're saying. Okay, hold on. Wait a minute. Just you wait a minute. Solidarity with women. Solidarity with women. And finally, this is the scene. This is what we see. This is them. Now, two angels came to Sodom in the evening, and Lot was sitting in the gate of Sodom. When Lot saw them, he rose and met them, and he bowed himself with his face toward the ground. He said, "Here, now, my lords, please turn into your servant's house and spend the night. Wash your feet, then you may rise early and go on your way." And they said, "No, but we will spend the night in the open square." But he insisted strongly. So they turned to him and entered his house. Then he made them a feast and baked unleavened bread, and they ate. Now, before they lay down, the men of the city of Sodom and Gomorrah, both old and young, all the people from every quarter, make sure you keep that in mind. What did they say about the run? What did they say about the run? And where? You want a refresher of what was stated? I can give you that. The run usually begins in the French Quarter of New Orleans. Okay, let's continue reading that. Now, before they lay down, the men of the city, the men of Sodom, both old and young, all the people from every quarter, surrounded the house. And they called to Lot and they said to him, "Where are the men who came to you tonight? Bring them out to us that we may know them carnally." So Lot went out to them through the doorway, shut the door behind him, and said, "Please, my brethren, do not do so wickedly. See, now I have two daughters who have not known a man. Please let me bring them out to you, and you may do with them what you wish. Only do nothing to these men, since they have no reason. They have come under the shadow of my roof." I've always had an issue with Lot doing that. And that's the only question I've ever had as to. But then I thought about it more. And the more I thought about it, he chose to live in Sodom and Gomorrah. So there wasn't really a whole lot I can say much about his decision making. Besides, his family wasn't saved because of him, it was saved because of Abraham. And they said, "Stand back." Then they said, this man, this one came in to stay here, and he keeps acting as a judge. Now we will deal worse with you than with them. So they pressed hard against the man Lot and came near to break down the door. But the men reached out their hands and pulled Lot into the house with them and shut the door. And they struck the men who were at the door of the house with blindness, both great and small, so that they became weary trying to find the door. Then the men said to Lot, "Have you anyone else here, a son-in-law, your sons, your daughters, or whoever you have in the city? Take them out of this place, for we will destroy this place, because the outcry against them has grown great before the face of the Lord, and the Lord has sent us to destroy it." Now, am I equating the red run with Sodom and Gomorrah? 100% yes. 100%. Without equivocation, yes. Same thing. No different. Absolutely no different. The disrespect, the violence, all of it, yes. Now comes to the other portion of it that's not so biblical as it is historical. And the historical part is probably, because it's fresher, more insane that this is something that is promoted, whether seen or unseen. I don't know how they couldn't see it. I don't see how they couldn't see it, but hey, I'm going to mention it. If you remember anything about, and I'm not one to dwell on history, but when people use it as a positive thing when it's not, I think we got to mention something. Okay. Um, there used to be a practice in the days when the southern states had mad amount of slavery. And one such practice was releasing young men and girls into the bogs and having them chased by alligators. Of course, the result would be, um, you know, death. And not just death, but like a lot of red flowing through the bog. And the thought hit me, how could they not see the implications of a red run leading to the concepts that happened back in the day, especially in a place like New Orleans? But then again, it's the same location that they have a bunch of the same ideals when you talk about the ritualistic voodoo stuff when they have their Mardi Gras, the death that surrounds it, um, the concepts of it all. They revel in that. It seems to me like the entirety of New Orleans and the surrounding parishes all seem to gravitate towards the diabolical dark entities of life. And I have to wonder if that specific location, I've only been to it once, twice, flying in and flying in and then going to try and fly out. Um, and you can feel a little bit of there is a vibe there that's not the most wholesome while I was there. I can't say what exactly it is, but it was a bad, weird vibe. And then I watched this particular thing taking place now there again, and they seem to always want to embrace this idea of the dark, the death, the violence, and even the debauchery of everything that was once looked upon as bad. And I am not quite sure as to the why. I know the who is behind it, but the why is crazy to me. It's almost like the entirety of their well-being is tied up in trying their best to be as debaucherous as possible. And I don't understand it. I really don't understand it. You know, the more I look at society today, the less I'm inclined to believe that there is going to be any such thing as a large people coming to the cross, a large amount of them. Um, and I don't know necessarily that is going to happen, guys. I don't know that. I really can't see it. I'm going to play for you some other people's take on this. And I want to try and break that down real quick before we go any further, because maybe my viewpoint is completely off. Maybe I'm just not thinking um, logistical enough when it comes to this particular concept. Um, but then again, maybe I'm completely dead on. I don't, but I'll because I think a lot of the questions right now is about whether it's gay or straight to wear the dress, and I don't see that being as a question. I don't know how it could be straight to wear a dress. I don't get that one. I really don't. I I don't know. Yes, ma'am. You have a question. I'm looking to see if you have a question. I don't know. I don't know that. But again, judging by what he chose, where he chose to live, and how he dealt with Abraham when they did split, he seemed like a selfish individual anyway. So, well, let's hear.
If a straight man wears a red dress in support of a local charitable event, does that make them gay?
Possibly.
Not possibly, Corey. Not possibly, Corey. I beg to differ with you
There's
on that particular answer. Now, I don't care whether you agree with me on this one, Sea Dog, but no, 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 zero, zip, zilch, straight man would ever wear a dress. I don't listen to me. I don't care whether you're trying to say, but the dad wanted to dress up in a tutu for his. No straight man puts on a dress. It would never happen. I don't care if your daughter asks you to, you tell her straight up, men don't wear dresses. Disappoint the mess out of her properly. Can I paint your nails, daddy? No, because men don't wear nail polish. Find something else for us to do together. We're not doing that. I will take you to go buy some dresses, but I'm not wearing the dress. I'm not putting on no nail polish. You're not putting, nope. You're not putting no makeup on me, sparkle. We're not doing any of that. I will bond with you, daughter, some other way. Not that way, though. Nope. You can call it homophobic all you want. I ain't doing it. I ain't doing it. Anyway, but let me hear what you mean by possibly.
a movement to just emasculate men, to take away what God has given, the attributes that God has given men, which is to be masculine. I'm not
Mhm.
saying to be overly onerous and things like that and to abuse people. No, because that's not necessarily being masculine. That's just being a jerk, evil, wicked, what have you.
Right.
But to take away what God has given men, which is this masculine or this masculinity, that is wrong. That is sinful. And the problem is you got men who are complicit in this.
If a straight man wears a red dress in support of a local charitable event, does that make them gay?
I don't even know why you would do this. What
I don't. But you do know why. You do know why. Trust me, you understand exactly why. What about kilts? I ain't wearing a kilt neither. Sorry, just not wearing a kilt. Whatever their culture came about with that, I'm not wearing a kilt either. Sorry, nope. I would say, okay, you remember the garments that they wore and still wear in the Middle East? It's not a dress. I'd call that a long shirt. But a kilt? Heck no. Mm-mm. Nip, nip, nip. You can call me what you want. You say Scottish men are very manly. I don't care. Scottish men are manly. Don't care. Not wearing a kilt.
what's the point of having men to dress up as women? Who is the person that would even come up with such an idea that you know what? The way that we ought to raise money is have men dress like women.
You know why. Corey Minor, you know why. And you said it at the onset. It's a partially the emasculation of men. I get it. Partially, partially. The other part is that the vibe and the feeling and the mindset of Sodom has not left society. It didn't leave. The destruction of Sodom destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. But we know that the flesh is going to flesh, right? And that particular, if you want to call it a spirit, I don't call it a spirit, that particular act of the flesh is very pervasive. And that's why they do it. It's generally that simple.
Why? Now, this is what he's speaking about right here. If you notice, you got these videos of these men, and okay, some of these guys they got muscles and so forth, but that doesn't mean that you're no less gay or no less soft or what have you. And we'll look at what the text says. But yeah, I don't know whose idea this was, but it's not a very good idea, not in my opinion.
In any opinion, not biblically. So it's not even an opinion. It's just not manly. It's not male. You can say it. You can be rude with them, Corey. Be mean, man. I know it's tough for you to be mean, brother. I know you don't like being mean, but I'll be mean for you. I will be the one who will say what I know you're thinking, but you trying to be nice. I get it. I get it. I will say what it is. First of all, I'll say,
What the?
and let everybody know this about me.
I don't want peace. I want problems always.
So I'm going to have me some problems. And I'm going to ask the other question, why are they gay? No, they're gay. It's not even a matter of it being effeminate. No, they gay. Gay, 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 gay. All day, every day, all the way gay. That's what they be. I think we should be able to say that out loud and not worry about it. They are gay. And biblically, it's sinful. We can say that 100% unequivocally. There should be no problem with that.
Now, what you just witnessed was the New Orleans Red Dress event, which is an annual charity event that's hosted where both women and men dress in red dresses and they walk or run a short, like, I guess, like 2-mile radius in the French Quarter.
Now, my question is, one, are they running or walking in the dresses? But two, why can't you just wear red? Why not just have the men to wear red? Or, you know what, how about this? How about this? How about you just donate some money? I want to support the cause.
Because, Corey, it's not the goal. The donating of the money ain't the goal. It's the influence that goes with the money. Hear me out. Donating money would be fine. And it would be amazing. Yes. Okay, cool. But here's what. If I can give something to charity in a certain fashion as money, I have now double the influence. Now I'm giving you money as a good guy. But you're going to have to look at me as what I'm presenting to you. So now I have the influence to tell you, adopt this as a okay thing. Now, remember what we read, right? Remember what we read about their donate page. Okay, remember that. Their nonprofits are boys and girls, elementary schools, memorial schools. You're talking about Special Olympics, the Boys and Girls thingy, youth centers. It is not far-fetched to ascertain from this list. Okay, Boys and Girls Club of Metro Louisiana from last year, the Kiwanis Club. Let me see here. Epilepsy Alliance of Louisiana. Hotter Than Hell Marathon. They are donating, Men's Club. The NOLA Girl Charitable Giving. This is all last year. Save Our Cemeteries. The St. Michael Special School. Urban Conservancy. Youth Run. They're doing this in order to have more influence over the things they want to influence the next generation with. That's why they're doing it like this. So asking them to just donate the money, not going to work. You don't get any influence with just donating money. That's not what you get. You get influence and you get what you want by donating money in a certain manner. They're not dumb.
Whatever, I'm sure it's probably a worthy cause. Why not just donate money? Why not just do that? Now, again, we're just talking about from our perspective, which is from God's perspective. You know, it's wrong for a man to wear women's clothing. A woman must not wear men's clothing, nor should a man dress up in women's clothing. For anyone who does this is offensive to the Lord your God. You can say what it means to me, what it means to you, what it means to someone else. Who was offended?
God.
The Lord God.
Yeah.
Why? Because he made men to be males and women to be females and to act that way. I don't know if he catches that.
To raise money for local charities.
Now, someone brought something up in the comment section. I want to bring it up because I agree with it 100%. Let me bring it up here. Where does it go? Where's it go? Where's it go? Where's it go? I got to find it because it was spot on. Still scrolling. If I can just, it was so dead on. Okay, there it is. That right there. This dude by Corey, he wants to put on a dress. I agree with it. That's why he's trying to, it sounds like he's trying to normalize it. We'll see if that's where he goes. We'll see if the guy, one in the brown shirt, well, he's wearing a brown shirt. So, I mean, the only one that could have made it more clear what he wants to do is if he wore a Cowboys shirt. I mean, be honest. Okay, let's find out.
Seeing as this is an annual event that's been going on since like 1985, I want to know why everyone is so fixated on black men wearing red dresses.
Yeah, he gay. He gay too, and he's just trying to hide his fact that he gay by saying it's okay for everybody to do it. You normalize the thing you want to do. That's what you do. You have to normalize it. It's 1987, not 85, by the way. And I'll tell you what other thing is associated with black men in dresses. And here's the mindset. And again, this might spill into a little bit of a social and political thing too, and that's okay. How many of you have heard of buck busting? Please tell me if you've heard of buck busting. If you've ever heard of the term buck busting, just let me know. Now, if you're familiar with buck busting, you'll understand why it is a problem putting black men in, of all colors, a red dress. You'll understand the problem. Now, buck busting, in case you have not heard of it, I want to make sure that you are understood. I'm not trying to be crass or offensive. But during the times that slavery existed here, and not just here, it happened in the Caribbean too. It was the act of emasculating the male slave by sexually assaulting him. Buck busting. You know, a rebellious horse, one that kicks against you, doesn't want to come under your subserviency, stubborn. You bust him down by doing that. Now, let's do the analogy here. You put a black man in a dress to emasculate him. You put him in a red dress of all things. What does the red emulate based on buck busting? That's the biggest problem if I were to look at this socially. Black men like the Mr. Guy here with the dreads and the beard have no clue what they're actually advocating for when they talk this stupidity with that retarded look on his face. He has no problem. He would have been one of those men on the plantation that would have been fine watching his brother get buck busted. He'd have been happy watching it. In fact, he would have volunteered to be next. Yeah, I'll say it. Any man that's okay with this nonsense about the red run crap is fine and would have been fine with watching and endorsing and promoting buck busting back in slavery days. Point blank, period. Any black man that's okay with that, you have major problems and you need to get solved. Something wrong with you. I'll say it. You'd also been fitting right in Sodom and Gomorrah as well.
Two things. One, I don't care if it's black men or white men. I don't want any men wearing dresses, but also I'm not all that concerned about how often they do it. Once is enough. It's one time that's going to be shared and kept. This is an all-time memory. Remember, what you do and how you are videoed, that's going to remain forever, at least until all the videos are wiped clean. And so there's always going to be some example, some evidence of you, a man, wearing red dresses and maybe even looking comfortable, smiling in it. That is not the image that I want to leave lasting for me. I don't want my sons to see that, my grandsons, granddaughters, daughters, wives. I don't want anyone seeing that. And again, I don't want God seeing that.
An event where you're asked to show support by showing up in red dresses. That's all participants, women and men.
Why can't just the women just wear red pants? Why can't the men wear red and the women wear red pants? Or again, how many? I don't even know what this charity is. Doesn't even matter. Doesn't even matter. Why do you? I know of some worthwhile charities, some more notable charities, some that are that are kind of more established, and men don't have to do that.
But it does matter. Here's why, Corey. It matters for this one reason. The actions that they're portraying as their charity reflects on what they will ask the people they give the money to for them to endorse. See, like if I decide I'm going to go dressed as a male suit, and it is presentable, and I have this idea of standing firm as a man, then I can go donate, and the entity I donate to, I'm donating it with a representation of myself to them. Requests can be made based on my representation. That's why they're doing it like this. They put themselves in this kind of debaucherous position so that when they go towards children with their charity money, they can now demand of that entity something along the lines of what they've already represented. The homosexual agenda, the men in dress agenda, they can present it now because we've given you money. And we already told you what we represent. So it should have no problem with me asking you to do something on our behalf now that we've given you money.
There are where the men would wear, or people would wear the little bows, the little, what do you call those, the little ribbons for cancer, for even for breast cancer awareness, or for soldiers that have been lost, all sorts of things. And you don't have to make the men dress like women. What's the point of making a man appear as something that God has not intended him to be?
Of all races and ethnicities. So why the fixation on only black men?
There is no fixation on only black men.
I'll fixate on black men for you, Corey, because they are fixating on black men. Y'all don't want to talk about it, so I'll talk about it. Not you, Corey. I mean, I know you want to talk about it, and I understand the reasons why sometimes you don't. I think that's all we'll do for that. I'll tell you why we need to talk about it. I don't push the race stuff, right? I don't put much merit into the black-white nonsense things that goes on. And I don't think you get in a certain place because you're black, and I don't think you get in a certain place because you're white. I don't think that. But when you see something blazingly obvious, I think you should be able to call it out because it's logistically a problem, right? The fact of the matter is, this is New Orleans. The fact of the matter is, there's a very high population of black men there. The very definition of what they're doing, based on history alone, tells you that it is targeted. It is targeted. I don't care who's doing the targeting, but it is targeted. And the stupidity of black men are falling for it. These idiots that go out there and say, I'm standing in solidarity with the queen. In your stupid outfits, you're just trying to find a way to be what you are on the low. And you've been handed this plate and you happily take it. And then you have so-called straight men like the dude in the brown shirt that's okay with it. Two men can't procreate, right? Y'all aware of that? Two men can't procreate. I don't know if science have been telling you this yet or not, if they changed their mind, but two men can't procreate and two women can't procreate. They don't possess certain things to do it. So if I'm promoting the idea of two men, then I'm also promoting the idea of limiting the race. Am I not? If I promote the idea of homosexuality, I'm promoting the idea of limiting race, limiting reproduction, limiting the future. Let me show you something here that some people don't want to understand. This is what's being promoted now. You ready? I don't know if you're ready for this one. See there? Black history is queer history. Now, where would they have gotten that concept, considering that the majority of blacks being here on the continental United States came about during the slavery issue? Now, you're telling me that I should, as a black person, take my identity in being buck busted? That's what you're trying to convince me of? That as a black male, the history of queerness should be that of blackness when I understand that buck busting was a thing? And you have black individuals buying into this crap like it's 40 going north? Let's make it a black issue real quick. Let's go there. Let's go there. I don't want to say it, but I'm going to have to say it. But it seems like we are the most gullible idiots on the planet. Black people, I mean. We have to be. We have no excuse. And I mean none. Whether you believe the history you're given or not, just look no further than 30, 40, 50 years. Look 50 years back, for crying out loud. Okay, just go 50 years back. You have to be some of the most gullible people to think that the things they're asking you to do isn't detrimental to you, and you still pick it up. Like you'll know it's bad. You know it, but you're gonna still do it. You have to be gullible then to know that you understand just basic things like a man and a woman create offspring. You decide man and man is the better option. Woman, woman, better option. Then you decide erasure of your child is even a better option. So now you've destroyed your community 3 different ways, and you embrace it as normal. Then when people come to you and tell you, biblically, you can save all of this by doing it this way, you're white. So I want to get this correct. You're white for wanting to save your family. You're white for wanting to procreate. You're white for wanting to do things the right way. If you want to end your bloodline, you're black. If you want to be gay, you're black. And if you want to murder your baby, you can be black. That's a true black person. But talk about God, white. That's a white thing. No, the red run definitely is aimed at black people. I don't care what you say. And they know it. You just don't want to admit that. And it's not even aimed at white people, at black people by white people. It's aimed at black people by black people who bought into this stuff. Because they have ignored God. Period. They've ignored God. That is crazy work. What is? What was a racist statement? Just so I can be clear. I don't want to take that the wrong way. Unless you're further back in the video, what is a racist statement? We have fallen into this trap that our identity is in skin, our identity is in what we own, our identity is what we know. And this is why when we point out to people that my identity is in Christ, they don't want to hear that, because I lose all sorts of identity if I do that. Because what about me? It's all about me, 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 me. Well, it's what they do. It's what they do. It's what they do. Trust me, I've lived it. Corey and I, specifically, not this Corey on the screen, but Corey Fair, Too Strong Corey and I, we've lived it. We could come out and tell people, this is the way you ought to live by the word of God. This is how you should be doing it. God said this, you white for doing that. Stop going into the streets and killing. You're white for doing that. Stop promoting certain debaucherous act with your children. That's it. You're white for doing that. You don't need to live. That's white for doing that. The system isn't right. You white for saying that. So somewhere along the lines, the few black people that believe that bought into something that they ought not to have bought into, either because they're gullible or they wanted to. But this red run nonsense, I don't care how long it's been going on. Their goal is working, though. Think about it this way, okay? This thing has been going on since 1987. Let's see who they gave to in 2023. Covenant House, Community Sailing. Let me see here. Dawn Busters, Greek Empowering Extraordinary Kids, Gigi's Playhouse. They know what they're aiming for. They know what they're aiming for. And they're getting the win. Why? Because if you look at New Orleans now, you tell me what the state is there. In fact, tell me, what is the number one problem down there? They're just as bad as Atlanta, by the way. The debauchery that has set in is dragging them further away from God. And the further away from God they go, the more debaucherous they become. And who gets affected the most? But the young people. So they're getting the next generation long before we do. That they're going to get them. The best we can hope for is after they've been gotten is to convince them otherwise by some way, some form, fashion, introducing them later in their life to God and letting that take its root. That's the only hope we got. But we don't out-influence any of these people. We don't. Us as just Christians on the surface, we do not out-influence anybody. God has all power, yes. But I'm talking about influence on a populist scale. Nobody wants to hear about God. He's still there. But everybody wants to hear about self. They love self. Oh my gosh, they love them some self. And right now, in all the states that they have this red run thing, it's working. It's working. That's the unfortunate reality, people. We might want to look at this and say, you know what? This needs to stop. Yeah, it might. But it's not going to. We were told specifically that this particular activity and mindset is going to become more and more pervasive. Were we not? We were told that. We were warned that this is exactly where the world would be going. The age would become more evil. There'd be lovers of self. It said so. In fact, let's go to where it says it so we can get the exact idea fleshed out for y'all. We'll end with that. In 2 Timothy 3, this is what it says. But know this, in the last days, perilous times will come, for men will be lovers of themselves, lovers of money, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, unloving, unforgiving, slanderers, without self-control, brutal, despisers of good, traitors, headstrong, haughty, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God, having a form of godliness but denying its power. And from such people turn away. Do you see it? I see it. In fact, later today on Savage Patriots, you'll be seeing it in full force. You'll be seeing that very thing in an absolute objective display. This particular thing is becoming the norm. And it's being passed off as if you're not that, then you must be against people growing, people being for themselves, standing up for what they believe. That kind of crap. It's pervasive now. It's not ending. It's not. And that's the unfortunate reality. Our grandchildren and children will have a very difficult time navigating it without God if you don't set that seed and foundation early. Because everywhere they turn, it'll feel like they have no recourse. You have to teach them to be self-reliant on God, not people reliant on God, because people are not going to be reliant on God. You're going to have people pushing this nonsense, people without the truth, people without knowledge of what's going on, and this is what will happen. There'll be haters of knowledge, haters of the truth, haters of the way. In any case, I figured I'd tackle it. We have a special thing happening Monday. And I want to lay the groundwork for this now. And when I say it's special, I really mean it's I'm going to tell you now, I'm not sure I can make it through the event on Monday without falling apart. So I'm letting you know that now. But it will be an event for any woman out there that has been through hell when you were younger, has had to deal with guilt, self-hate, your past jumping in your face all the time. And I will say, I will not be tolerating any divisive statements made. There will be a mad amount of defense being run on my side. Yes, on Straight Talk. B is going to be giving her full life testimony. We agreed that it's about time that this be done. Because I know many women need to hear what it means to have been in a place where you hated yourself. You absolutely did not think you deserved salvation, but you got it, and God still wanted to use you. She will be giving her testimony. It is not an easy one. Like, I mean, at all. So I can tell you now that I know that I'm not gonna make it through it. And I know it all. But I do know that people need to hear it. I think I know for a fact women do. So it will be Monday. It might be 3 parts because she's wanting to do it all of it, and it's going to include a lot of things that people consider triggering events. There will be some topics of very much triggering events that you might have gone through. Things that people might want to judge her for. And for those who want to try and throw that in her face, like I said, those comments will be dealt with accordingly. I just want you to know, I will personally, I wouldn't need my mods to do that. I will personally deal with you. And I don't think you want me personally dealing with you, because I'm not just going to ban you. I want you to be sure of this, and I want to make this announcement now. If you come sideways, and I do mean sideways, because I'll know, trust and believe me on this one, I will not be holding back on you. I just want you to be sure. I don't want no surprises come Monday. I don't want you all saying, how could I will tell you right now, I will light you up one side, down the other, and right through your stuff. I will do that to you on the spot. Wouldn't even apologize for it neither. I just want you to be aware straight off the top, that's going to happen if you come sideways. The goal of this is to share with people what God has done for people who maybe have been through things that they never thought God would have brought them out of. And if you're going to come in to try and keep a sort of a blanket on what God is doing, I'm going through you for 2 reasons, my wife and for God. So it's going to be a double dose of running through. It's going to be a verbal bashing like you probably won't want to grace the internet when I'm done with you. I just want you to be aware. That's what's going to happen. I'm not apologizing for it. I will not repent for it, because it'll be something justified. We cool on this? Cool. I'm not saying any of you in the chat right now would be doing it, but I know for a fact you're going to have somebody going to try and come and do that, especially with the title. But please don't let me have to go into my bag, because if I go into that bag, it's going to be bad. Verbally, it will be bad for you, because I will defend my wife. And I will defend God. I want y'all to be aware of that, so there's no equivocation. Okay? But for you women that want to hear what it's like to journey through something that could absolutely eat you up guilt-wise, be there for that. Be there for that. Okay? Savage Patriots will be on today at 6:30 Eastern, and I don't think you want to miss this one. Trust me, you don't want to miss this one. It has been going crazy on TikTok, and I have a suspicion that there will be more people than ever on our live, and I'm looking forward to that, because the receipts we have and what we're going to do is vital to show you how to handle certain situations. Okay, cool. Scrolling at the bottom, you know what to do. Appreciate you guys for all that you do, everything. And again, all I say is I'm just a sign, nothing else. Okay. Sunday we will be having our Zoom meeting. The following Sunday, however, might not. I am trying to get out to see Lonnie. He doesn't know that yet, by the way. I'm trying to get out to see Lonnie the following Sunday, but he's in about an hour and a half away, so it'll be a long drive, and I doubt I'll be back in time for the 1 o'clock time frame. So, because it doesn't start till 10, and it probably won't get done until like 11:30 or 12, which means I won't be back till probably 2, because I'm not just going to dip and run. The whole goal is to try and spend time with Lonnie. I hadn't seen him in forever, dear brother. So it'd be good to catch up with him and just kind of fellowship for a bit after. So I'll let you guys know by tomorrow, or by next week, midweek, if that's going to be the case. But right now, as of now, Sunday will still be on. This coming Sunday is on. I think that's it. So we'll see you on Savage Patriots later today. Thank you again in advance. Wisdom calls to you from the streets, so please, please, please find wisdom. Peace.
Hold tight the dreams, for if dreams die, rely on yourself and no way